Please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
It's a couple of spaces like banks that are under pressure, but largely nothing much happening in the market. Flat for now, mid-caps just about in the green. But here's more from Davos. Shereen caught up with Hero MotoCorp's Pawan Mujal, who rarely talks to media, but he did speak to her about the demand picture for the two-wheeler sector and India's electrical vehicles push. Listen in.
Looking at the past few months, looking at the way the sales have gone, I think we are on a growth path. We've done better than before, and calendar 2018, I'm very sure we'll do better than calendar 2017. We've already started creeping back on our market share, and we have more launches coming up in the scooters as well. We have lots of stuff going on right now in the marketplace. There have been some changes also in the pricing in different states, different markets of the country. We're already seeing positive signs going forward with the lineup also expanding. I believe that we will not just recover our lost market share, but we will gain on the previous market share as well. We have invested in Aether Energy in Bangalore, and they are progressing very well. We do have a close to 30% stake in that company. We are looking forward to a product launch middle of this year sometime. Very smart scooter, very advanced scooter. I personally think it should do very well. Having said that, we are also working at our CIT in Jaipur, at our R&D on the electric lineup, which of course will come later.
They were, in fact, ahead of the curve as far as electric vehicles foray is concerned. Way back in 2016, they invested in an electric vehicles company in Bangalore. So he was talking about that and how they plan to launch the scooter soon. But let's talk about M&M financials now. The asset under management was at a 6-quarter low, but it was not all bleak for the company as the disbursement growth was quite strong this quarter and asset quality has improved. Ramesh Iyer, the Vice Chairman and MD of the company, joins in now to give us more details. Mr. Iyer, always a pleasure speaking to you. The AUM growth this time is at a 6-quarter low despite the rural economy picking up. Should we expect further pressure?
Clearly, one should understand that unlike any other previous years, the two festivals, the big ones, Dussehra and Diwali, normally comes in October and November. This year, actually, September has taken away one of the festival. And therefore, you would always see a little muted growth in terms of AUM is concerned during this particular quarter. But if you look at therefore the overall year, the 9-month basis, you will see that the growth rates have been healthy, while for the quarter it has been lower. And it's important to understand that AUM growth is a cumulative number, whereas if you look at the disbursement for this quarter at 10,000 odd crore, which is 17% growth over the third quarter of previous year.
Mr. Iyer, good morning. Your asset quality has improved. Has it improved through collections? And what is the guidance on GNPA going ahead?
So clearly, we moved to 90 days in September quarter itself. And that was a very clear indication or a reflection of our confidence that the cash flows in the rural is improving. We did believe that the farm cash flow will hold up substantially well with good monsoon and good yield was expected. And we did see that the good yield and support price has been average, plus other cash flows have been good. So I want to be extremely clear that the corrections to the asset quality is an outcome of recovery. In fact, we have not resorted to repossessions, and our overall repossessions have been very, very low during this period. And we have very strongly believed that once our customers start earning their money, there are only circumstantial delays always that we have seen, and then they do pay off. And then one will always see the improvement in the asset quality, and that's very clearly reflected.
So in a rising interest rate scenario, how is your borrowing mix placed in order to maintain your net interest margins going ahead?
Borrowing cost was to slightly move up. It will be lower than my average borrowing cost of the book, because we do have high borrowing cost liabilities still outstanding which will mature, and as we replace them, the cost at which I would borrow would be lower than that. But yes, the interest rates couple of months back was even lower, and if that had to continue, the improvement to net margin would have been much higher. But net, if you look at it, the borrowing cost would still be lower than the average cost. The other point of, if the borrowing cost keeps going up, at some stage we will decide that it also needs to be passed on to consumer. right? As much as when our borrowing cost keeps coming down, at some stage we need to pass it on to customers. It's likewise when the borrowing cost keeps going up, and at some stage we will have to pass it on to consumers. So I am not able to see there's going to be any major impact to our net interest margins. And our improved net interest margin is also an outcome of, lower income reversal getting netted off from the revenue in view of lower NPA. So as otherwise our yields have remained almost intact, our borrowing cost has been one of the most favorable with a AAA rating that we have, and we do see those advantages will continue as we move along.
Mr. Iyer, thank you so much for your time today. That's M&M Financial, decent numbers, the stock up about 2%. Tell you something, a lot of stocks are surging. Pull out the intraday chart of NCC, expiry day, so some of these stocks do move. So NCC is the one which is now moved to high point of the day right now. The erstwhile Nagarjuna Construction, just look at that. I don't know if it's NCC specific or if HCC is also having a move, because normally you see moves in both these companies are similar. Of course, NCC is a better play, but HCC is also making a move.
There's a QIP on NCC.
No, NCC is there's a QIP, yes, of course.
Perhaps,
oh yes, there is QIP on NCC, so that's why that stock is moving. So now at the high point. But good time to invite Ashwini Gujral back on the show. Ashwini, pretty lackluster as far as the index is concerned, but a lot of stocks moving. Your thoughts on how to approach trade from here?
See, mid-cap tech is coming back. So that 200-point decline on IT index is being bought. So NIT Tech is back to its old tricks of moving higher. So Tata Elxsi, NIT Tech, etc., they should be bought on whatever small decline you are getting. Also, the other stock which has just moved very sharply is Tata Global. Now that's been quiet for a bit, and I believe it could also start revving up, because the other beverage stocks are kind of cooling off, and this has cooled off for last week or so. So mid-cap tech and possibly Tata Global is what you want to look at. Other than that, Nifty, Bank Nifty, you have pulls and pushes on both sides. So maybe mid-cap IT and a few of these individual odd stocks that you can buy.
Okay, in fact, NIT Tech now fresh high on that one, corrected a bit, but now at 880, so phenomenal move on that stock. But what would be a good level to enter now, Ashwini, on this one?
See, I think it's given you a early morning dip, and given that it's already crossed yesterday's high, I think it could have another good day, because this is basically the only trick that the market has now. With PSUs, banks out of the way, I don't think Bank Nifty is going to make great amounts of moves. Also, ICICI Bank is moving higher fairly strongly, so that could help the Bank Nifty a little bit. But I don't think Bank Nifty will be an outperformer today. Things like NCC are doing well. So Soba Developers in real estate, Radico Khaitan, post yesterday's decline, that's coming back. And also metals is coming back, Vedanta, Tata Steel, etc. One bank which is doing very well is Kotak. So Kotak could do well in terms of private banks.
Okay, well, the stock that's really showing some gravity-defying moves now from the large caps is L&T. It's a new high on L&T, and it's surpassed that 1400 mark. And just pull up the chart, it's almost a 1.5% move just in the last, about half an hour or so. Gautam Shah of GM Financial was just telling us how now they're getting extremely bullish on the capital goods space. Rajat Bose is also with us. Rajat, from the frontliners, a lot of stocks hitting new highs today, L&T, ONGC, Vedanta. Anything that you're picking up? Okay, I don't think Rajat can hear me. So, Ashwini...
yeah, I can hear you, Sonia, now.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, I have actually chosen two metal stocks today. Vedanta, to my mind, is doing pretty well and is likely to do even better. Target would be 355 and 345 is my stop loss. And Steel Authority, I would put a stop loss below 93 and I would buy for 98 and 99.50. And among these two, I would say that Steel Authority can even be bought for short-term delivery with a target of 112 to about 115 and put a stop loss below 90. Steel Authority looks pretty good. And one mid-cap stock I have, that is Nahar Poly. This is also looking quite bullish, stop loss below 80 and targets 87 and 89.50. Again, Nahar Poly can be bought for short-term delivery with a target of 100 to about 110.
Okay. Big move actually in Tata Global. Ashwini was talking about it. In fact, all the Tata Group stocks are making a big move. Tata Elxsi as well. And Tata Elxsi has been a really remarkably strong stock. So Tata Global up 2%, Tata Elxsi up about close to 1%. Ashwini, you would go with both?
I would think so, because something is happening on consumption. PC Jewelers had couple of really bad days, and that's now turning. So my opinion is that by end of the day, PC Jewelers could also move fairly strongly.
Okay, and what would be the stocks to pick up now, Ashwini? I mean, there's plenty to choose from, but what are you looking at?
See, basically Vedanta is a buy with a stop of 344, target of 362. Bharti Airtel remains a sell with a stop of 456, target of 434. And PC Jeweler, I have revised the call since it's moved up. So that is now a buy. So that you would like to buy with a target closer to say 600.
Okay, so on PC Jewelers, actually, as Ashwini was pointing out, because the stock has now reversed, let's remove that call. It's actually a buy, not a sell. So if the ticker team is listening, because there's been a big move on PC Jeweler on the way up. Ashwini, what would be the target on PC Jewelers? Do you think it can go back to the highs? I think it was 582, 583 thereabout.
I would think so, because PC Jeweler has had two really bad days, but it's a strong momentum stock. And on days like expiry, I think a lot of shorts probably will get covered. You can also look at Titan, which is now just beginning to move higher. So there's something on Tata stocks as well as consumption other than liquor, etc.
Okay, we'll come back to you gentlemen in a bit. Just also want to quickly throw out the Maruti expectations, because the numbers are expected post-noon today. Once again, a solid set of numbers is what we're expecting from Maruti. So 13% revenue growth. Remember, the volume growth has been 11% this time, and realizations have also improved because their new launches like Baleno, Brezza, Ignis have done pretty well. So 3% up move as far as realizations are concerned. Profits also expected to grow by about 16-17 odd % or so. There could be some hit on margins quarter on quarter because of higher discounts that the company gave in, as well as the higher raw material costs quarter on quarter. But apart from that, expected to be a steady set of numbers. And as we all know, the stock has had a dream run. It hit that 10,000 mark last month. But talking about the auto space, lots of action coming in from Davos. The who's who of the auto sector was there. Amara Raja's Jaydev Gala spoke to CNBC TV 18 and said that global examples show us that government policy initiatives are needed for strong growth in the electric vehicle usage. In an exclusive conversation with Shereen, Gala also spoke about the demand picture for Amara Raja batteries. Incidentally, that stock has been on a tear lately. Listen in.
In terms of the demand environment, the demand outlook, what does 2018 look like?
Well, 2018 is election year, Shereen. I think
Yes.
you know that. I think it's not going to go into 2019. So with that in mind, I think business, definitely after the demonetization and after the GST introduction, there's definitely going to be an improvement in spite of the fact that it's an election year. Modi ji has also come out very clearly saying that this will not be a populist budget. So if that is the case, it shouldn't have an impact on business. So I expect that, I've always been predicting that after GST, it'll take 6 to 12 months for things to stabilize. And then it may take 18 to 24 months for companies to understand how to get the efficiencies out of the new tax system. And there are a lot of small corrections taking place right now also. So that's part of the stabilization process. And I think we're getting close to the end of that stabilization process. And, supply chain efficiencies that are going to come in as a result of GST. It takes companies a little bit of time to reorganize themselves, reorganize their warehouses, their entire supply chains to get the best out of this system. So even though we see some initial inflationary trends for products and services, that should reverse, and we should see a deflationary trend going from the next 6 to 12 months, in my opinion.
There's a lot of conversation around moving to electric vehicles in India. Individual state governments are announcing their EV policies. The central government has made it very clear that that's what they would like to do. What the transition phase looks like, we don't know, and we don't have the details just yet. But what kind of an opportunity does that throw up for somebody like you?
It's, you know, if you look at the EV space today, it's a chicken and egg situation. All the automotive manufacturers, the OEs, are saying that they need a battery system, and they also need the infrastructure to come in for the charging stations and everything else. But then we, as a battery manufacturer, look at them and say, well, where's the demand?
Yeah. You
know, we can't invest $1 billion to set up a new lithium-ion battery plant unless we have a clear demand in place. Because it's a huge investment. It would kill most of our companies if we don't get a return quickly on that. So we're still going through that process. I think the government is very keen. They've announced a policy that by 2030 there will be no more IC engines.
No, they backtracked on that.
Oh, I say, okay, you're more informed than I am then. But, well, I think it's still, the trend is clear.
Yes. Yes.
The trend is clear. And I think that it's getting very close. And in my opinion, even
can the government play the role of creating demand? Because that's what they're hoping to do through EESL, and you know they've started the procurement process.
Yes.
So do you believe that that will be enough to stimulate demand?
Well, wherever we've seen a high growth in electric vehicles, it's been because of government policy initiatives, whether it's California or European countries. Recently I was in Lisbon, and I just came here from Lisbon. And all over town I've seen these electric e-rickshaws, or what they call tuk-tuks.
Right.
And, you know, that's because of policy. The city itself said that by a certain date, all of these vehicles have to be electric. So unless policy drives these type of changes, economics will not be able to drive it alone.
Okay, that's interesting. By the way, you know, as we discussed, a lot of stocks are right now at high point. Vedanta is there, NCC is there, Tata Power is there, IGL, Colgate. So turning out to be a good day actually. PVR, Titan, TVS Motor after that big correction. So a lot of these stocks are right now at the high point. There are a couple of stocks at low point as well. Biocon has moved to low point. In fact, now down 4.5%. Jet Airways has moved to low point. HDFC Limited is at low point right now. It's an expiry stock though, so you know it can turn around as well. But a couple of these stocks have moved to low point right now. But commodity market is on a bit of a tear right now. The dollar weakness is the big story of the day. Here's Manisha with a roundup of all the commodity market action. Manisha, good morning.
Morning, and thank you so much for that, Anuj. Well, absolutely. The weak US dollar is working its way in case of this asset class, and you have seen very strong gains coming in for various sectors here, starting with the crude oil prices. And it's not just the weakness in US dollar, but it has its own fundamentals which have been supportive. So you have seen a 2% of a gain overnight. The crude prices are trading 1% higher in the global markets, and that's exactly what we have seen come in for the Indian prices, near 2% of gains, and we've crossed above that 4,200 mark for the Indian prices. Not only have you seen a constant decline come in for the crude inventories in US, which have actually declined 44% now in last 9 months. It also has to do with the funds allocation. The money managers have put in monies, so the speculative long positions are at record highs as well. It has been outages and production cuts, supply concerns, all of that really taking the prices higher, and the demand estimates have been on the stronger side as well. So $71.66 for US crude is how we are trading right now, clearly breaching those levels on charts which the markets have been talking about. Good gains is what we have seen for the gold and silver prices also. Well, the weakness in US dollar has worked its way here. So 30,000 has been easily taken up by the gold prices in India, and we are inching towards 40,000 mark for silver as well. 0.5% of gain continuing for this sector as well. The base metal prices is yet another story. Yesterday, we saw very strong gains in the New York session, between 3 to 6% coming in for many of these metals. And you have seen more or less all of that continue. So all of those metals trading in the positive. Nickel gained 6% yesterday and is open 2% on the higher side right now. It is about the expectation that the steel demand and the output will continue to increase. So all the steel ingredients seem to be doing quite well. Trading strategies, and we have them from Grow Value today. They have a buy call across sectors. For the crude oil prices, they expect them to move up to 4,222. They also have buy calls continuing for the base metal space. For copper especially, they're watching out for targets of 477. They also have a buy in aluminum today with targets of 149.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. It's